Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Friday, and all of our guests today are brought to you by our friends from Campbell River. I heard from several of my relatives from Campbell River.
Campbell River, yes.
Regarding the news earlier this week. So a special hello to the Lawrences and Henschels in Campbell River and various parts of Canada.
Beautiful.
Quinsam Communications Group, Vancouver Island's trusted local communications integrator. Quinsam Communications can provide and service communication solutions such as two-way radios, RF antenna solutions, commercial communications, cell boosters, and more. For more information, visit quinsamcommunications.ca, connecting people through technology. White Rock Troy, Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox just before we get to Thomas Drance. Ding dongs.
Oh, they were good.
Are better than wagon wheels. I don't think I've ever had a ding dong.
Oh, no, they were good too.
Other than working with a couple.
Ding dongs were good. They're the same as the wagon wheel, the white stuff in the middle. But it was, but you know what I mean, the cream or whatever it is. But the ding dongs were good too. Troy and White Rock, one of my.
I don't think ding dongs had the cookie center.
Look at, you've never seen a ding dong?
Well.
Same as wagon wheel.
Okay, here's a segue. We won't go there.
Oh.
Thomas Drance joining us now from the Athletic. Canucks, St. Louis tonight. Rogers Arena, also from Sportsnet 650. How are you, Thomas?
Ding dong here.
Ding dong, the white stuff in the middle. You know, the cream. What a lead-in. My goodness, how am I supposed to focus now? Yeah. It's marshmallow, Rick. It's marshmallow. Come on.
So the white stuff in the middle is marshmallow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it was cream. It's the same as donuts have cream in them.
There'd be an expiry issue if it was cream.
All right.
Yeah, with your ding dong.
Thanks for the update, Thomas.
You'd also have to keep it in the fridge. Like, my goodness. Come on, man.
Hey, Thomas, ding dong, the St. Louis Blues are at the door at Rogers Arena, which may be the worst segue in the history of broadcasting. Okay, so, that was bad.
That was bad.
Let's start this over.
Yeah.
Hey,
sorry. No, I'll pick it up. I'll pick up what you're dropping.
There you go.
Hopefully the Canucks can rock the Blues like a wagon wheel tonight.
Beautiful.
Look, the Blues and the Canucks are kind of similarly profiled in this early part of the season. Both teams are getting shot, maybe a little bit more than you'd like. Am I freezing here?
Yeah. Now you're fine. There you go.
Oh, man.
Have a ding dong. Get back to us.
Am I freezing?
No, you're good.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. This Rogers Arena Wi-Fi is usually more reliable for me, boys. Okay, so the Blues and the Canucks are both profiling similarly in the early going in that they're getting outshot maybe a little more than you'd like to see, but their goaltending's good, their special teams are good, and they have a ton of opportunistic finishers that have, spotted them leads more often than not, and they're out to the sort of start that they wanted to get out to. Still some concerns on the blue line, dynamic group of young forwards. I mean, honestly, in some ways, this is a mirror image clash. Mario versus Wario, as it were, tonight at Rogers Arena. And it's also a schedule win for the Vancouver Canucks, right? The Blues played last night. They saved their starter for tonight, showing some pretty significant respect for the Canucks. And yet, as I walked along the seawall in today, a beautiful day, I realized the Canucks are minus 192 home favorites on the money line in Vegas. That's a 65% implied probability of victory. That's a lot of respect. The sports books buying in as much as the city of Vancouver is to what they've seen from the Canucks in the early going.
Man, I'm jealous. I haven't done the Stanley Park Seawall walk in a long time.
Oh, a long time.
I've got to get on.
He lives down there. He's That's 2 feet beautiful. Away.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. I'll join you next Friday. Hey, the Canucks are, last time I checked, 6th in goals against per game in the National Hockey League. In what ways are they better defensively versus last year?
Yeah, I mean, to me anyway, it looks like a lot of the easy stuff that teams were exploiting last season, especially the down low passes, the cross crease tap-ins, the backdoor stuff that we so frequently saw Demko, Delia, Spencer Martin get beat by. So much of that is gone. Now, all of that said, the Canucks are still spending too much time in their own end of the rink, and we've seen in every game except that Nashville Predators game and the club's home opener that this team's gotten bogged down and spent too much time in their own end of the rink for long stretches of the game. When that happens, it doesn't matter that teams have to work harder to score against them. If that sort of pressure is sustained too regularly, the goals are going to start to come. Some of them are going to be soft. Some of them are going to be the sorts of goals that the Canucks were able to score against the Nashville Predators simply as a result of sheer volume. So there's still work to be done, especially on upping the territorial play. But man, Vancouver's penalty kill is not giving up the same high seam stuff, and down low in zone, I think their defensive game is so much better. Still some work to do in terms of regularly squashing plays along the wall, in terms of, you know, some of Vancouver's worst defensive moments. I think about Barkov waltzing down Main Street. You know, those were driven by some poor neutral zone reads, right? Scanning the neutral zone. I know that's one of Tocchet's big staples. I still think there's progress to be made in that area. But once teams are set up, I think they have to work a lot harder to score on this team. And yet, all of that said, 6th in the league in goals against, a lot of that's being driven by just phenomenal play from Thatcher Demko and Casey Suitcase DeSmith. I'm really going to try to make that happen now, boys. I've decided. So, you know, at some point, this team's going to have a game where their goaltender doesn't outduel the guy 200 feet away in the other blue. You know, we'll see what it looks like when that occurs, because this team's not always going to be running downhill. They have played well, but they also have had the bounces in their favor. Over 82, that's not going to last, and that's sort of when this new defensive solidity will really be tested.
Thomas, a lot of praise for Höglander in the last game, but he was still around the 8-minute mark in ice time. I think he's still not fully the trust of Rick Tocchet there defensively.
No.
But I like what he's doing with Studnicka, and kind of like a little bit of a... He likes Studnicka a lot as well, but when Bluger comes back, they're going to have 2 extra forwards. But anyways, as Höglander tries to get the confidence of the coach, is that going in the right direction in your eyes?
I mean, partly, actually didn't think he had that great a game in Nashville, especially in the first period. I was getting a little worried for my guy, Rick.
Yeah,
and of course,
your guy.
Scores and absolutely my guy. I like hardworking players who can provide a little bit of punch. You know, ultimately, despite a first period that I thought was up and down, he scores the goal. And I think it's a reminder, like, Nils Höglander's been on the ice for 4 Canucks goals for at 5-on-5 in his, 4 games this season, Rick. Anthony Beauvillier still hasn't been on the ice for a goal 4. You know, Hugh Suter still hasn't been on the ice for a Canucks goal 4 at 5-on-5. We're 6 games into the season. You know, as much as there are some things you might have to live with from Tocchet's perspective if Höglander's on the ice, especially right now, right? Maybe some of those things can be ironed out if he has a regular role, but right now I think there are some negatives that you're going to be taking on if you put Höglander into the lineup. Despite that, you know, when he's not in the lineup, like, who's going to manufacture offense in the bottom 6? You know, like, I think they need him, because I think they need more offensive push in the bottom 6. At some point, too, you know, this team's converting on 13% of their shots 5-on-5, running downhill offensively, as I've sort of spoken about them running downhill in terms of their goaltending. It's happening in their favor at the other end, too, and still their bottom 6 isn't getting offense. They're going to need that push. Like, it's not always going to be a snow day in terms of the top 6 scoring. At some point, you're going to need a third liner, a fourth liner to step up. Höglander's your best bet to get those goals. I think that's obvious. I think his performance in Nashville, even though it was a little bit uneven, served as a reminder of that. So my guy's got to play, Rick. Not much else to it.
Well, you are his agent, so he does. You have to call Alvin and get his ice time bumped up. Speaking of ice time, Tyler Myers, 13 minutes last 2 games.
Yep.
You look at the right side after Hronek, Friedman, and Myers. How long can you go with that pair, Thomas? What do they got to do to address that?
Well, yeah, I mean, the easiest in-house option is to split up Hughes and Hronek. That pair's played really well, of course. So you can understand, while the going is good, why the club would just stick with it, right? But at some point, I do think you're going to need to see what Hronek can do driving his own pair. First of all, I think you want to see that before you commit to him on a long-term deal anyway. And secondly, you know, I do think that could potentially help even things out a little. The problem is Friedman doesn't profile necessarily as a Hughes caddy, simply because he doesn't have the size that coaches typically want with Quinn certainly that you'd imagine Tocchet would want with Quinn. And Myers and Hughes, I don't think that's a way to win games. So, the fact is that even splitting them up is pretty tough if you're committed to going lefty-righty. Look, it's an intractable issue. This team's spent a lot of assets trying to upgrade their blue line. I think they have in some ways, and I think there's still a ways to go in a lot of ways. And one other thing I'd add is, one thing I hear a lot from Canucks fans, people say stuff like, well, the Canucks are just a second pair right-handed defenseman away from being a really good team or something like that. And it's like, man, that second pair right-handed defenseman should probably be a first pair quality guy if you're going to start talking about, this team being constructed like a contender. Like it's not a 4-5 guy who they need. They don't need, an Ian Cole or Carson Soucy guy who happens to be right-handed. Like they need another difference maker on the right side. Yeah. They might ideally want another difference maker on the left side too. But for now, Friedman's played well. Tyler Myers, his ice time diminishing. I wonder how much of it is a reset. Like get a guy's confidence back up, and then we'll see his minutes tick back up. And how much of it is just the team realizing that this is how Tyler Myers has to be used at this stage of his career if he's going to be effective.
10 seconds or less, Thomas. Teddy Bluger. I know Rick Tocchet updated his health situation yesterday. What do you know?
Well, obviously a ways away, and too bad. They could use him. He'll help the penalty kill a ton. He'll help the bottom six a ton. He was flying in the preseason. Tough way to start the year, and obviously an injury that's lasted longer than the club had hoped, which often happens once the swelling goes down and you can get in there and really find out what's wrong. So hopefully we see him back soon.
Have yourself a Twinkie, ding dong, whatever. Go nuts, Thomas. And then walk around the seawall. Yeah.
I'm gonna find the wagon wheel with the cream.
Hey, hold it.
Good luck.
Hey, Donnie, stop. We have submissions in the Delaney's OK Town Langley inbox. It's cream.
In what? A wagon wheel or a
in the wagon wheel and the Twinkies. His Twinkies?
No.
It's cream.
The wagon wheel is marshmallow, man.
No, it's not. It's not. We got submissions, Thomas.
Well, let's look
Submissions?
at the...
Get them out of here. Get them out of here.
Okay.
It's cream. It's cream.
We'll update you next week, Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their website, and I promise you it's marshmallow. But yeah, good. Yeah. You've got submissions. Take that to the bank, Rick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fred in Aldergrove says there's cream in the middle of a wagon wheel. Nothing against Fred in Aldergrove.
Oh, boy.
Thanks, Thomas.
Well, cream always rises. Have a good one.
To the top.